Good evening, fam. Good evening. Go ahead and click that subscribe and the like button. Hopefully, you'll like it. And this is marriage boot camp. Marriage boot camp. Look, y'all. I'm sorry that this video was coming out late. I hope nobody was waiting on it, cause I ain't got a lot for y'all out of this episode. It really didn't give me a lot. Um, Honestly, they could have kept it. This could have been a they could have spliced some of this episode into next week, because next week is the lie detector. So next week is the episode everybody wants to see anyway. But let's just jump into it. It's not a lot, but I'll give you what I got. So of course, the day always starts off with them kind of just waking up and getting themselves together for the day, and everybody having their little conversations. And the biggest conflict, I'll say, that they showed in the morning was Brandy talking to Amber, basically saying, why you still with Matt? Matt ain't shit. Y'all not good for each other. Y'all shouldn't be together. And Brandy's delivery is usually questionable. But in this case, what she's saying is pretty on target and it's pretty accurate. And I guess there's not a real easy way to sugarcoat you shouldn't be with your man. Like, and of course, Amber got pissed off and she goes upstairs. So mind you, she's already pissed off when she gets upstairs. So she gets upstairs and Matt's in bed and he said he's not feeling well. And from there, it just spirals. And Amber's like, what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with you. You're just laying in bed. You just don't want to get out of bed. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. And she was already, the problem was she was pissed off at what Brandy said, took it out on Matt. And that just set up the whole episode. And I'm just going to dub this the Matt and Amber episode, because 90% of the episode was them. 5% of the episode was the Joneses. And then the other 5 was everybody else. Maybe 80% was them and 15% was the Joneses, because the Joneses took up some time too. So anyway, they get into this big argument, and Amber, when I tell you that Amber cusses him out like I don't never condone a man putting his hand on a woman, and I don't condone a woman putting her hand on a man. So it's both, it's equal opportunity. But I can certainly understand why he might be tempted. The way she talked to that man, the way she got in his face and told him he wasn't shit and wasn't gonna be shit and wasn't never shit. Like, y'all, she laid that man out like I ain't never. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was bad. Like, I was like this, I don't know. I was, and he laid there and he took it. He took it. So they called the boot campers down to the room, and he said he's not coming because he doesn't feel well. And his thing was, when you weren't feeling well, I took care of you, I nursed you, I checked on you. But when I say I'm not feeling well, all of a sudden I'm a no shit motherfucker. You know what I mean? Oh Lord. So we go downstairs, and they're getting ready for the exercise. And Matt eventually comes down after Amber tells everybody that he's upstairs faking and there ain't nothing wrong with him and this, that, and the other. So he eventually does come downstairs to do the exercise. And Amber's mom sort of jumps on the bandwagon with Amber, like both of them are like coming at Matt and making comments towards Matt. And I thought that Amber's mom, Tanya, and Matt had sort of built some sort of a rapport, but I guess not. So this particular exercise, again, if you've looked at the show before, and you know the exercises that they do, the different drills. So this is the one where they have the paddle. And on one side of the paddle, you're supposed to write what it is you don't like about yourself. Well, half of the damn group didn't participate in the activity. That's why I said they really could have scrapped this, because if 6 people don't participate in the activity, nobody's getting the full brunt of the activity, and it's wasted. The only 2 groups where everybody participated, and that was Brandy and her dad, and the Graziano sisters, who seem to be getting along really well. I think the whole... I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. I think the whole, your sister's dead, and if she's dead and gone, there's nobody in between y'all, and y'all are just, I think that really got to Renee. So they did the exercise. Mama Jones said ain't nothing wrong with her. She ain't doing shit. She said this exercise. Mama Jones is still mad that they call her as a crackhead. Like, I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm dead. She's really still upset at the fact that they portrayed her a certain way that she is not willing to accept. And the reality is this: my experience forms my reality. And it's my reality. And so Jim Jones is saying, hey, this is what I remember. This is my reality. You can not like it, but you can't negate his experience. But she's not ready to accept her past or want other people to hear her past. Like, I'm glad you're clean now. I'm glad that you're no longer on drugs, but it is a part of your past and it affected your son, whether you wanted it to or not, whether you thought it was or not. A lot of times drug addicts feel like I'm not doing it in front of them, so it's not affecting them. But it does. It still affects everybody around you, regardless of whether you're doing drugs in front of them or you're doing the stereotypical drug addict shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you're not robbing nobody. You're not lying. You know, you ain't Gator from Jungle Fever and shit stealing TVs. But your drug addiction is still affecting the family in a negative way. Moving to the next topic. So, I'm sorry. So, Mama Jones didn't participate. Tanya didn't participate. Tanya said, I'm tired of getting beat up. I've apologized for everything. It's nothing more I can do. It's nothing more I can say. And I'm done. So Tanya didn't participate. And if you ask me, she had a lot of shit to write down. But, okay. And then Chrissy didn't participate. I think Chrissy was just pissed off because they're not getting the Joneses are not getting the full experience of this. And I think Chrissy feels like we're almost at the end of this experience and we are no closer to coming to a resolution than we were when we got here. But I said that at the beginning, like, I don't know what they expect to get out of this. I don't know what they thought was going to happen through this process that they have not figured out in the last 10 years. But, okay. Jim started off not participating, but he eventually came around. The doctors sort of changed the wording for him instead of saying, what is it that you don't like about yourself? The doctor said, what if we changed yours to, what is it you would like to change? And when they changed that wording, Jim did participate and he wrote a few things down. Well, they came back together and they did the whole, you're going to beat the weight bag, and as you hit the weight bag, you're going to call out all the stuff you don't like. And they came up with this, nobody gave us any breakthroughs. I mean, it was, I want to be more patient. I hate the way I look. I think Brandy's was like, I hate the way I look. I hate the fact that I'm aging. Like, certain things, but we know that. She's already talked about the plastic surgery and all that other stuff. I think Brandy said stuff like her eating habits. Like, I hate the fact that I drink, that I don't know when to stop. Like, part of hers I'm gonna call bullshit on, because one of it was like, I hate the fact that I don't know when to stop joking, or people don't know that I joke too much or something like that. And I feel like that went directly back to the bullshit you did with Jim. But I've seen you in other scenarios. You relish in that role. So you might not like that about yourself, but it is certainly something that you can change. It's not, so anyway, but Matt had his whole paddle was full of, stuff that he didn't like about himself and stuff like that. So again, because only half the group wrote on the paddle, it wasn't a whole lot, like I said, that exercise didn't really give me anything. So then, I told y'all it's not a lot here. So then I want to say they went to dinner or something. I don't know. They had a break. But then they came back and they came outside. And they were supposed to actually read to each other I apologize. They had to flip on the other side of the paddle. After they beat it out, they had to flip on the other side of the paddle and write, what is it that you don't like about your partner? Well, of course, it's always easy to talk about what you don't like about somebody else. But Amber and Matt, again, everything Amber wrote, no. All Everything Amber wrote was about Matt. I hate the fact that I choose the wrong men. I hate the fact that I have unhealthy people in my life. Like, everything was about Matt. It wasn't about what she hated about herself personally. It was about Matt. It came back to Matt. So then, of course, they flipped it on the other side and wrote on everything they hated about each other. So later on that night, they had a ceremony where they were out by the fire pit, and you knew that they were going to symbolically burn these paddles. Well, when Jim got down there and realized that he was the only person out of his little group that did the activity, he refused to participate. He said, well, if they don't have a paddle, they don't need me reading mine, and he put his down, and he wouldn't participate in the group. Like I said, Brandy and her dad did theirs, and I think they might have made some headway. I think they may have come to a conclusion about the fact that they have a communication issue and they have a perception issue. So I think they're making some headway. I do. The Graziano sisters, oh, they did really good. They did really, really good. And again, I think they're making some I think they're making some great strides. And they did really well with telling each other, But again, one of the things that came up was Renee and her ex. And, everybody agrees that, Renee, you are giving this man way too much power in your life. You are giving him too much control over your future. And they all agree, including Renee. And so hopefully it's the last time we ever have to hear about her ex doing any goddamn thing, one way or the other. But the sisters did finally admit that the ex manipulated all of them, their whole family, and manipulated a lot of situations. And so I thought that was good, because I think that's what Renee really needed to hear, was that everybody understood that he was an asshole and he created situations or manipulated situations. Then we get to the Amber and Matt show. Like I said, this whole episode was Amber and Matt. And once again, they lay each other out. I mean, again, she is cussing this man out, talking about his mama, excuse me, it was bad. Once again, it was bad. To the point where the doctors and everybody basically said, y'all can love each other, but y'all hate each other at the same time, and y'all just don't need to be together anymore. And we see where he ends up sleeping on the couch that night. Like, he's like, I'm done. Like, I love her, but it's not healthy for us to be together. So I guess they're done. Like, they don't have to wait till the lie detector or to the ending ceremony. I guess they've made the decision that they're not going to be together anymore. And when Judge Tola comes out, that's what she tells them. She's like, look, y'all are on this roller coaster. She called it the wash machine, that you're in and you're out, you're in and you're out. And she was like, look, you don't have to be together. Like, you can love each other, but also understand that y'all are not good for each other. Because it got to the point where I thought Amber was going to hit this motherfucker with the paddle. Like, it was that bad. Like, she was in his face that bad that I thought she was going to get physical. Which, of course, he told us earlier on that that's what she does. That she hits him. And then she tried to throw it back. Mama Jones said it's time for her to go. She said that there's nothing left for her, that she's not getting anything out of it, that all the exercises are not about what she came there for, that she came there to try to help, but it ain't nothing there. And this is not helping anything, and she no longer wants to participate and be there. And she said she's leaving. And that's pretty much where the episode ended. It just didn't give me a lot. But it was the Amber and Matt show, and they went at it. I mean, they went at it. It was ugly. It was ugly. And like I said, if that's how they fight around other people and when cameras are with them, I can only imagine what happens in their bedroom by themselves. And on that note, I'm done. I'll be back in a little while with some Southern Charm. Talk to y'all later. Bye.